Okay, let's keep going. This next presenter, Ted Jenkin, I have to tell you, first of all, we in our May summit, the Coiled Spring, Ted was one of our guests and did such an exceptional job. The feedback on his presentation was incredible, not only because of who Ted is, but the credibility that he possesses as a subject matter expert on so many levels. So, of course, the world has changed. Captain Obvious here. The amount of screen time that not just you and your team have experienced, but also people in your community of clients, prospective clients, and strategic partners. Incredible. So I often talk in terms of cracking the code, right? Like just that secret recipe, like dialing in the numbers to the combination. Well, Ted has figured a lot of things out. And again, I mentioned credibility. He is an incredibly successful financial professional, which in and of itself makes him compelling. But he's pretty much seen it all. Around how to maximize enterprise value for a liquidity event, how to shift from organic to scalable growth and become franchise ready, the whole concept of PR. But what makes him what I would say one of the most accomplished financial professionals in the industry is not just his financial services firm, Oxygen Financial, but also his connection with HyperChat, social. You see, the concept of whether it's LinkedIn or any aspect of social networking is that it enables you to be found. You don't have to go out and find new clients. I mean, this is like this 24/7 business development entity where a prospective client can kick your tires privately and build up predisposition. It serves as a bridge for advocacy for clients and strategic partners to introduce people to you. So Ted's presentation is called 5 Lead Generation Techniques to Add $10 million in AUM in 2021. That's pretty lofty, but I'm not sure about your situation, but we have many teams that have far surpassed that by adopting these types of practices. So with that, Ted, let me hand it over to you and take it away.
Thanks so much for having me at this summit today, and thanks to Pareto Systems for just having me part of this fantastic lineup. And I'm excited to talk to you today about how to finish strong in 2020, especially from a marketing perspective, and maybe also gain some momentum here going into 2021. This has been quite a year, I think we'd all admit, but for those that really understand branding and marketing, it is such a great time to be a financial advisor because there's so many people that are going to be in need, help, transition, job layoffs, all sorts of financial planning needs, buyout packages, and really it's a great time right now. So I just wanted to have some disclosure that all the ideas I'm sharing with you today are ideas that I use in my practice, and I've used them for many, many years. But obviously you want to make sure compliance-wise you can do these. Always make sure that you're in compliance, whether you're an RIA, insurance agent, or you're with a broker-dealer. So let's get a mantra starting today. You know, I've been on this kick really for many years, but I've been doubling down since the coronavirus really started to hit us in March. And the question here is like, how do you get a fast start in 2021? You finish strong here in 2020. It's funny, sometimes people say, well, they're a strong finisher. And I always say, well, they're a strong starter. It's usually both in this business. So many will start fast, but few will finish strong. Those that finish strong will start fast again. So there are 5 ways for you to finish strong. I'm going to talk about this, then I'm going to get into 5 different marketing techniques that you can do immediately, get into place over the next 30 days to really start to crush it for the end of this year, going into next year. Number 1, recommit to your goals. If you said you were going to bring in 50 million of AUM this year and you're only at 30 million of AUM, why give up? There's a great opportunity to still get to that goal if you put your mind to it and a marketing plan in motion. We're still, as a firm, going to bring in $200 million this year. So if people say it's bad times, I don't know who they're talking to. Action, not outcome. Look, you can only think about this by doing 2 things: increase your activity, increase your effectiveness. The funny thing is, the more active you get, the more effective you get. It's like golf. If you play once a year, you're probably not going to be that good. But if you play every week, you're going to get better. So action creates a better outcome. What do you stop doing? Are you doing things now that just aren't working? Haven't generated a lead, haven't generated a client, haven't generated a referral. If all those things aren't working right now and they haven't worked for a while, stop doing them. Then the question is, what do you continue doing? Are there things that you're doing now that are creating daily activities that lead to new client acquisition, new assets, more insurance in your business? And the question is, what do you start doing right now? The funny thing is, there's always things I'm continuing. There's always things I'm stopping, but there are always things that I'm starting. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that right now. The whole thing about finishing strong this year is that marketing is not a silver bullet. It's funny how many advisors I've talked to over the last almost 30 years that I've been doing this, building a multi-billion-dollar firm myself, are always like, what's the one idea that's going to make a difference? And the whole thing is, you have to build this by having 360-degree surround sound. You build it in the movie theater or your home theater that you have at home. It's the same way you have to do it. And it's even more important today because we're a much more digital and social world. And then it's doubly important because we have no idea when the coronavirus will go away. People will stop working at home, or if they will stop working at home and have a return to work. So I'm going to talk to you today about a bunch of these 360 degrees. In a prior summit I did with Duncan, I talked to you about several different ideas. I'm going to give you other ones today, but between advertising and email and video and blogging and texting, yes, texting, I'm going to show you today. LinkedIn lead generation, which I'm going to show you a different angle of the axe today. BOMBOMB, which you may have never heard of before, and making sure your website convert. We blast this 360-degree surround sound so our clients want to refer us more, that people on the internet want to come to us more. We don't really believe in push marketing, which is going to do a dinner seminar and finding 10 people that want to lick a plate, and then maybe they'll do some business with us. We believe in building things that draw people to the attraction of what we do as a firm, and you can do that too. So some of it, short-term ROI, make the decision now to get the action into place. Some of this is long-term ROI, so you can really blast this going into 2021. So who's seizing the opportunity right now? I love putting us in there because we're seizing the opportunity. But if you look at these large brands that are out there that are growing, how about Edelman and the moves that he's made and growing to a $10+ billion RIA and growing like wildfire right now. So you see Edelman all over the place. Fisher Investments, you may like Ken Fisher or not, but you cannot deny that the 2 branding campaigns of we do better when you do better and I hate annuities, whether or not you sell annuities or not, he went that way and he built that out to a $100+ billion RIA. And they are blitzing the media right now. Wherever you see them, you may say, I'm sick of seeing those Fisher guys. Now, you're not going to see Ken for good reason right now, but you see the rest of his firm. And if you think about what Michael Kitts, as many of you know in this industry, building the XY planning network with well over 1,000 people in that network right now, took a little bit of what we did in the early days with Oxygen with the XY, which is what I built many, many moons ago before it was in vogue. And now they have the XY planning network. You're a brand, and you got to remember that branding is important because people are attracted to brands. They've always been attracted to brands, and they always will be attracted to brands. And that's part of that pull process. So I think today at this summit, it's your moment to think differently. Think differently today than what you've done in the past. Clean the slate, change the ideas, and start thinking forward and separate yourself right now so you can finish strong in the rest of 2020 and then crush it going into 2021, gain momentum. Who gets in the White House, all that stuff, I try not to think about that. I think about how I'm going to market and get people with my 360-degree surround sound to come to me. In the end, as I said in the last summit that I did, there's only two ways to grow your practice. You either do it organically, like I've done it. I don't like buying other people's headaches, or you're going to acquire practices, or you're going to do some of both. But you can only grow top line revenue when you've got more clients, because you're only going to be able to squeeze so much business out of your existing clients. You can only depend on market growth so much for the growth of your practice. You've got to figure out how to get new client acquisition. Let's talk about the 5 ways to do that. First thing I want to talk to you about today is something called Linked Helper. Now, I'm going to clear the screen for a second in here, and I'm going to get into showing you where to get this. So in the Chrome Web Store, on Google Chrome, and you have to use Google Chrome, there are a lot of great extensions. Last time I showed you something called Duck Soup, for those who were at the original summit. This is actually called Linked Helper. And Linked Helper, you see right down here, is basically an extension. And what this extension does, it allows you to talk to people inside of LinkedIn. Now, when you search inside of LinkedIn, what are you looking for today? You're looking for rollovers, you're looking for layoffs, you're looking for in-service distributions. Write this down. At the end of this summit right here, what I do these 30 minutes, I'm going to give you a way to get my list of all the companies that have in-service distributions. Would you like that? Now, if I knew today that AT&T was an in-service distribution company, what I could do very simply is click on AT&T, the company. As you see in my screen on the right-hand side, there's more than 216,000 people that work for AT&T. Now, I could narrow this down in many ways, even if I don't have premium and even if I don't have Sales Navigator. Now, I would recommend getting that. But if I said, I only really want the people that are in Dallas, and those are the people for AT&T, I've now narrowed it down to 16,000 people. If I said I only want the people that are managers or VPs or senior VPs, I could narrow that down even further. What Linked Helper, which I will show you in a second, will let me do from there is basically send a second and third degree message. And I might write something like, did you realize that you could take your money out of your 401k and manage it yourself, even while you're still working for AT&T? 99% of employees don't know this. Would you like to learn more about it? Click yes, hit reply if you want to learn more. Now, that's a direct call to action that I can do when I'm in here. I could also offer an ebook. Would you like to know the 7 stocks that you should buy right now going into the 2020 presidential election? Even Motley Fool doesn't cover these stocks. Click here to get my free guide. Did I pique your interest when I had what I just said? Is it something that you're like, wow, I'd really like to learn more about that? Well, that's going to be an opportunity for you to go in and basically send these messages. One search that you can do really easy is you can use the words new opportunity or new transition. So if you type this in here and you type in new opportunity in people, what you're going to see is 279 people within the Dallas-Fort Worth area that have listed themselves as a new opportunity. If I unclick Dallas and I click New York, there's currently 197 people that listed themselves for a new opportunity, and they're working for AT&T, by the way. If I got rid of AT&T and I just said, who's looking for a new opportunity? 174,000 prospects in the metropolitan New York City area that are looking for a new opportunity. So people, when they're changing jobs, this is how I spy rollovers in advance. They use words like new opportunity, in transition, and it's actually in their profile. Then I can go prospect them. Now, how do we do that? Well, as I mentioned in here, what happens is that if it's rollover central or it's in-service distributions, or I use the words new opportunity, I'm using this software called Linked Helper. When you install the software, you're going to see something I've highlighted here that says collect, select, and invite first or second or third degree contacts. In this case, I want to choose second and third degree connections because I want people I'm not even connected to. And I'm going to do those messages exactly as I said, an in-service message. I'm going to do a rollover message, a you got laid off message, or I'm going to offer them some sort of stock guide or tax guide going into the election. I can also do first degree connections. So if I wanted to offer some sort of investment idea, tax idea, or insurance idea, that's a way for me to also generate new clients, or even my existing clients may be on there as well. I recently did a webinar on first degree connections on the 7 stocks to own under a Biden or a Trump election. Massive results that came out of that, just because people are really interested in it right now. When you get into the software, it's going to easily show you in here that if you do a second and third degree messages, you have roughly 300 characters that you can write. So in this case, you see there are 4 crucial mistakes people make with their 401k when they leave their job. The biggest one of these could cost you half your 401k if you don't make the right moves. Reply yes and get my free guide so you don't turn your 401k into a 201k. Does that make sense? What a great way. You could leave here today, install the software in Google Chrome extension, come up with a message, hit a target, and tomorrow you can start serving hundreds of people a day to start generating yourself leads. And I don't care if you service physicians, great. Business owners, great. If you only work with people that work for AT&T, that's great as well. Okay, so again, if you want to take this a little bit deeper, one thing you can do is actually set up a landing page. And I talked about this before in different summits, but the easiest way to set up a landing page is buying a URL. If I wanted to attack the financial services industry right now, I could buy a URL called whypay1%.com. And then I would build a landing page with some free brochures about why you shouldn't pay 1%. That would be the ebook. And then that would help me generate leads. So you can send people to your website. You can work directly with them in LinkedIn, or you can create a landing page to send people to. Very, very powerful. We do this all the time for people at HyperChat Social. All right, let's talk about number 2. I'm thinking out of the box today because I want to finish strong and I want to finish with momentum going into 2021. Podcasting. Now, you aren't going to be Joe Rogan, and neither am I. Our podcasts are generally not going to get millions and millions of people. But podcasts basically do 2 things. Number 1 is it gives you tons of video content to put into your social media, so you stay front and center with people. But what I found, and I've done this now for 5 years, is I created a podcast that would allow me to do new business development and also work with compliance. The funny thing, a lot of financial advisors want to do podcasts on money shows. And not only is that difficult to do, it may not be as interesting as you think, but it's also challenging to work with compliance. So I created a podcast called The Shrimp Tank. Now, what is The Shrimp Tank? Well, The Shrimp Tank was basically a podcast that I developed many, many years ago where I could interview entrepreneurs. So this actually has nothing to do with money. I'm not talking about stocks and bonds or when you should retire, but I'm getting to interview some of the brightest and best entrepreneurs in and out the city of Atlanta and the state of Georgia. In fact, this model has been so successful. There have been 15 financial advisors that have taken my model. I've given them a license and they use it actually in their city. And it is unbelievable because what the podcasting does is it allows you to bring in the kind of people that you want to bring in. I like working with entrepreneurs. I feel like that's the best kind of client I could acquire. I love them in the tech space. I love blue collar entrepreneurs. I also love a lot of white collar businesses as well. And I invite those people into my podcast, and I've interviewed some of the most powerful people in the city. And I've even interviewed national business owners like Tony Horton, who is the founder of P90X, on my show. We've done 250 shows in Atlanta now, and we've done more than 1,000 across the United States. And this makes you also a powerful member of the community. We work in conjunction with the schools that have entrepreneur programs. So we're working with Georgia State and Kennesaw State right here in Atlanta. But I guarantee you, wherever you live, there are schools that have entrepreneur programs. So you become a member of the community. You get a direct line to meet business owners who can do business with you, and you create tons of social media content. It is a triple threat win that works really, really well. But I have to tell you, if I was going after C-suite people and I said, I only want to work with people that are like SVPs or EVPs, I would do a podcast on leadership. And I would invite those people in and talk about leadership, not doing a podcast on money management. That's a very difficult podcast to listen to. And again, it's difficult to execute with compliance. So the Shrimp Tank has been an unbelievable thing for our practice. We create a small podcast studio. And by the way, we know exactly what equipment you need to buy. It's not that expensive to set it all up. In fact, it's pretty cheap to set it up relative to a lot of other marketing things. And what we do is we bring in entrepreneurs. One case that I recently did in here with is a serial entrepreneur. He owns a company called Strategic Claim Consultants. These guys are storm chasers, which in fact has been a pretty good business the last couple of years. He brought over 1.5 million of assets, and we did a defined benefit plan that also had 125,000 of insurance premium. We're doing corporate benefits for 2 of his companies that right now, and financial planning. I would say the way the business is going, he's going to be a $5 to $10 million client. That probably paid for every podcast that I've ever done. But I've done, and I do pretty consistently, more than $1 million of target insurance premium just from this show alone. And then I opened up a property and casualty company, and now I'm doing property and casualty with all these businesses as well. So this is a very powerful thing. We create this in a very scripted way. There's an opening for the show. We talk to them about how they run their business. We go through a section called Hot or Not, which are their ideas on like how to actually make different decisions in a business. And then we stole something from Andy Cohen, and we do a Plead the Fifth section. And then we do a nice post-show video wrap-up. The beauty is the client actually does marketing for us because they send this video out to their employees and their customers. And boy, I have to tell you, it is really, really powerful stuff. We've had some of our YouTube videos that have done more than 100,000 views. We've got over 10,000 subscribers to the now. It's just made so much difference. But I have to tell you, it's a great marketing thing. Now, is it going to generate business tomorrow? Probably not. You know, it may take you 3 to 6 months to get it going. But if you talk about how to finish strong into 2020 and get into something that can really drive business in 2021, this is huge. The next thing I want to show you is compliant texting. Compliant. This took me years to get approved and done, but it is so powerful. We actually own the chassis called 89800. So we can set this up for you, or you can do it yourself. If you go on your phone now, let's do a new text message and type in 89800 in the to box. And then in the body, I want you to type taxes. 89800 in the body, type taxes. Okay, just in the interest of time, I'm gonna have you put it in there. And then what you're gonna see is a box that comes back that looks like this. It says, thank you for requesting your free money guides from Oxygen Financial. It's time to breathe easier about life. And there's a link. And if you click that link, it's gonna take you to a fill out form that you can actually fill out a form to get the guide, but you've got to give me your information. Everywhere I go, people will say often, do you have a card? Do I have a number? I say, tell you what, just text the word taxes or text the word TED to 89800. I've got a business card that's mobile now. I've got lead generation funnels that look like this. And as soon as they take that text from me, I actually get their phone number in a back piece of software. Then I can drip them through text on an ongoing basis. I don't care where you are today. You can do this in a totally compliant way. It's very easy. Your broker dealer captures all the electronic communication or your RIA, and it is fantastic. And if you think about today, what you're doing on social media or emails that you're sending, you're trying to generate activity. How many people open an email? Well, email is getting more and more difficult to get traction, but texting, we have a 95% open rate. Everybody opens up their text no matter what they look like. And if you think about it today, you're not getting marketed that much through text. You're getting heavy marketing through email, and you don't even cold call anymore because with all the robocallers and things like that, people don't even take those kind of calls anymore. So compliant texting is an idea you can implement now. I could say text the word AT&T to 89800. I could say text the word, retirement, whatever it is. I can make what I want to come back in here actually come back. Now, this one, bam, this is a legendary one going down the stretch in here called BOMBOMB. BOMB, BOMB. Video is very, very effective. And I've heard a lot of financial advisors say, Ted, I can't set up a studio. I don't have time to shoot video. Well, this is a money deal. Email becoming less and less effective. BOMBOMB is a compliant and easy way to turn email into video. And you got to think about the campaigns that you want to do, but we do this all the time for special moments like birthdays, anniversaries, etc. But now we're doing very, very specific campaigns. How does this work? First thing is in BOMBOMB, you can make a custom template or use their generic templates. You can see some generic templates on here that are used for BOMBOMB, where basically it's happy anniversary or happy birthday, and you're gonna send a video. What I did is I spent $250 and I created a custom template. This template shows people all the places that I've been featured, everything you see at the bottom part of the screen about Ted, hire Ted to speak, what Ted says, Ted's national TV. Those are all links to different things so I can start the conversion funnel of people wanting to do something. But inside that BOMBOMB, I can basically do a video and a call to action. I'm going to show you this live in just a second. So you can see the template that's around the video. And then you can see in the middle, it says add call to action banner. So if I did a video today, I could actually add that call to action. Do you see in the notes in there, it says finish strong in 2020. And then it says, Duncan, boy, do I have an idea that can help your portfolio finish strong in 2020. Pragmatically, what happens is that if I get into the BOMBOMB software, what you're gonna see in my screen is sort of me seeing me. And this is where I would actually shoot the video. All I would do in here is click record. I'm using the camera screen from my computer. And I would basically record a video that said, hey, Duncan, this is Ted Jenkin. I got a great idea for your portfolio. This one is off the chart before the end of 2020. Click the link that's on there and let's set up a meeting or get the free e-guide that I put together. Man, this is a big one. I do not want you to miss out. And then I'm going to hit send. So that is a very, very easy way for me to be effective. I can do BOMBOMB in a mass list. I can import thousands of contacts in here. I can set this up with ongoing automation. So I have this set up with prospects where I could send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos that are pre-recorded in a row, or I can do things that are really timely. If a new act or law or investment comes in, I can do that. It's very, very powerful stuff. So BOMBOMB, I got to tell you, you can do it today. It's super cheap in terms of pricing and super effective if you want to get more appointments, more leads, convert people that were sitting on the sidelines. I'm using this every single day in the business. Remember, I said this is part of the 360-degree surround sound. And you can see the call to action here. I typed in the #1 idea for 2020. The banner link, I can do whatever link I want. In this case, I just used the website. Now, I talked to you about referral gifts last time, but I will again, because we all know referrals are the best way to get clients. Now, I don't know if you know this. Look at the title and the headline. Virus makes lobster so cheap that sellers face a fatal blow. I don't know if you knew this, but because of the coronavirus, lobster is cheap as it's ever been. Thousands of pounds of unsold lobster. If you go to mainlobster.now, which is what we did, you can get fresh lobster tails to send your clients. When was the last time you got anything good? We're 6 months in this coronavirus. No wholesaler, companies you think that would want my business. Nobody sent me anything at home. Butter me up a little bit. Maybe I would do something, and you not only can get more referrals like this, but you can have long-lasting clients by sending small things that other people don't. And with social, people will post this. By the way, totally FINRA compliant too, because you can stay underneath the $100 rule by a lot. Notice that lobster tails on here are 3 ounces, 4 ounces, 5 ounces, or only $11 or $12. In this case, an 8 ounce to 10 ounce lobster tail is basically $31. So even for 2 of them, it's still only 62 bucks. We send a note on here that you see in the bottom. Thanks for being in the tank with us. Could you claw, you may not want to be as cheesy as I am, but could you claw us 1 new client before 2020? Imagine asking your clients this simple question right now. Can I ask you a favor? Over the next year, I'm going to do a great job for you. Can you help me find 1 new client? That's it. And you send a little bit of lobster and some drawn butter with it. Boy, goes a long way. I have to tell you something. Our referrals have exploded this year. We'll be well north of 150 new referral clients this year. And we've got a really good process about how we do this. We stay within the rules and guidelines, but we separate ourselves from our competitors. That's how you finish strong in 2020. Look, I love doing these programs, and I know we only had a half an hour, but it's time to put the pedal to the metal. What if you finish strong in 2020 and you get the steam rolling so 2021 is a banner year? Could you get one new client right now as you leave Duncan's summit today and get one new client every week before 2020? Can you pick up another $10 million of AUM before the end of 2020? Could you do another $100,000 of target insurance if you're in that business before the end of 2020? And can you have a fast start? Boy, I feel like I had a senior moment there in 2021, not 20,201, but 2021. Can you have a fast start? How can we help you today? Well, if you're interested, number one, I would go to tryhyperchat.com right now. If you go there and you sign up for an initial meeting, I will get you our in-service distribution guide that you can use today to start looking at companies that you may be able to do in-service distributions. But more importantly, we can help you put together a 6-month turnkey lead generation campaign. And for some of you out there that may be interested in saying, I only want to pay if I see somebody, we even have programs like that only will pay if you actually see someone. And that's what we do at HyperChat Social. We create that 360-degree surround sound and create targeted, direct lead generation programs for financial advisors. So I highly encourage you, go to tryhyperchat.com today, right now, get the free in-service distribution guide, and more importantly, let us look at your practice, pull up the hood, help you figure out how you can finish strong here at the end of 2020 and build a killer marketing machine going into 2021. Duncan, on behalf of everybody at Pareto Systems, I want to say thanks so much for having me as part of a summit today. I totally have 100% respect for what you do all day because I do it too. I know it's tough with clients. I know it's challenging figuring out, predicting where all this is going to go, but you can't predict, but you can prepare by putting a marketing plan in a place that will keep you strong no matter what happens. Thanks so much for having me, and have a great rest of the summit.
Okay, thank you very much, Ted. Very, very actionable strategies. And for those of you who are thinking, wow, that sounds like a complex approach as he gets into some of those technical components, take Ted up on his offer. Just reach out to HyperChat, have a conversation. Let them do an assessment on your current digital footprint. Digital is obviously, again, understatement, the wave of the future. It's not going to replace you or what you do, but what a tremendous supplement and a way for you to achieve another level of that professional contrast in the marketplace. So, Ted, thanks very much. We are going to shift gears now, and I'm going to alter the format so I can interview our next presenter. So let me just make that technical adjustment, and we'll be right with you in a moment.